So tonight's webinar is going to be about finding torque in the two most important areas. There, you've got the torque in the backswing, of course, and everybody most people know that. Also, if I was to take Justin Rose and go back, if you take torque, there's a lot of ways to look at it from the face on down line view. Basically, it's how much they can rotate their upper body over their lower body, which we talk about. The thoracic is what allows that. The hip depth, allows that mobility. So mobility and strength issues, even balance issues pop up on those three things. And then you've got the transition torque, finding torque there, where it becomes really important. We're going to look at some swings that do it later than others, but you have to find torque. If you don't find torque in transition and maintain torque through the downswing of both the side of the shaft, the lower body and the upper body, that's when you're going to have some serious problems. In the backswing, you can have, players can really load late. Justin Rose isn't one of them, but we'll take, hopefully I've got a couple of examples up here where we can pop up that players that load a little later than others. So, because there's a lot of styles to do it, but you don't see anybody that, if they don't load in the transition area, if they don't create and find torque in the transition area, you just don't play well. And it's probably the most common things that I see at the golf schools and people coming in to train, or whether they're novices or been playing for years and years and years. They don't go in and they can't find the torque. They don't know what to feel. It's not even they know what to feel. They just, sometimes you can even put them in the right position, which is probably not the best word to say, but I can adjust players and put them in transition and torque them all up, and I know they're torqued and loaded, and they don't even really know it. That's when it gets really tricky, because the players don't even know their bodies that way. They feel taut, and they feel, like they're probably about to explode from the inside out, but they don't even know what that is, and that is the torque. And so when you come into transition, a lot of players are pretty light. We'll pull McElroy up because he's one that kind of is light. So Justin Rose isn't. So as he turns the club back, he's turning his right side. He's staying torque. But when he gets in here, he even finds a little bit more. So if I can do this, he'll find a little bit more. Try to do this a little slower. Sorry. So from right here, he'll come in late, and then right in this area, he's very torqued even going back, but he'll start to find more buys. He'll start to sink with his hips, as we've talked about before. And he'll start to make sure that the side of the shaft gets angled in the right area really early, that we talk about. And as you do those things, you start to create a new level of torque. Now, I'm going to try to pop up, if you just bear with me here. I'm going to pop up and show you. There's different styles of this. So let me see. Let's take a minute. Find McElroy. We'll look at McElroy. You'll see he stays a little taller going back. Even there, if you go out and watch him, he gets tall. He's pressed towards the ball, but then if you watch right in here, he gets torqued really kind of late, which is kind of what we like, a little bit later, and then you can see him starting to sink himself down. When I say sink, not squat, because sinking refers to more gradual versus just straight squat. Squat's going to make you stiffen up, which is not good. But you can see he's finding and creating all kinds of torque here. Now, some of that for sure is athletic ability. There's no doubt about it. Just is what it is. But it's also that he's taking his time in transition. You can see the man. If you look at from here to here, just from here to 3-4 frames in slow motion, there's a lot of time he's starting to. The club is dead set. That's the 3 stages of transition we talk about. He finds that torque, and now he's really keeping that torque. He's still really keeping that torque. Where most people are talking about how much he's unwinding in these areas, like turning his hips. That is not what we talk about. Unwinding those hips and all those things, and the chest and all that. That's the last thing I can guarantee he's wanting to do. He's got some of it naturally, but in reality, he's trying to keep, believe it or not, the torque up in the shaft and his lower body and all that going this way, the opposite way, so he can keep the torque in his lower body, upper body and it's the side of the shaft. But there's a lot of ways to do it. The more you can keep the torque in the downswing, torque is going to be more resistance. The more you can keep that in your lower upper and in the side of the shaft, the more you can pull with. So pulling, when you pull the side of the shaft of your body back into the ball, you're going to have, it's going to look slower, but it's going to be more heavy and powerful. So torque is always going to look slower than speed, obviously. And he's a great example. They're all great examples. They're on the tour. They're fine. I can guarantee you they're finding it in transition and through the downswing. There's no doubt about it. But you can just see he's kind of tall here, not much torque, not a lot of torque. This is just kind of being light and relaxed on his feet, and all of a sudden he goes and finds that torque, and then he contains it and uses it against the golf ball. So you have torque in the backswing, more like a Justin Rose. He's kind of doing it the entire way back. One way to do it, it's not my favorite. I like players to be a little taller, do it a little bit later in the swing so you know you're going to get it, similar to McIlroy. And then you have keeping the torque, which I think Rose does. We'll go back to Rose because on the downswing, we're in the downswing here, but I think Rose does a better job on maintaining the torque in his downswing than Roy does. But Roy's working on that right now, and he's becoming a better ball striker for it. So if you look here, if we just bypass all this stuff, bypass the transition, and here, Rose does a fantastic job of, now, and you look in reality, you see the body clearing and all that, but really he's just trying to keep his upper body and lower body resisted and the shaft resisted against basically, one, the head tipping over this way, which would be over the top, his body spinning this way, which would cast his arms away from him. It would probably also cast the head away from him. These players, they do such a great job. We look at them, we see that they're unwinding, and so everybody tries to copy all this unwinding and all this stuff through the shot, and they spin out of it, and they dump the club, and I could go on and on and on all night about that. I'm not going to. But bottom line is they're resisting this energy here. They're feeling energy going this way, and the longer you can feel it that way, the better, in my opinion, that you're going to be with everything: body, club, lower body, upper body, and then of course the side of the shaft. When you can do that, then down at the ball, down here later around where you get down in this area, such a good job right here maintaining that. And then down here, the body will start to, and the club will start to come together, unwinding. And so it's just really important to know there's different styles. They all have, there's two things. There aren't different styles if you don't get it out of transition. If you don't find it in transition and you come out of transition without torque, it's over. So if you get into transition like he's not doing here, but if you stay tall like Roy and you just stayed tall and you didn't do anything, you didn't sink into yourself, kind of do the slow down effect, the float, what would happen is the club would just slam right back down. I believe it's better to stay. I like it. There's a lot of different styles. This style works fantastic for Rose. I wouldn't tell him to change it for anything. But I like it a little bit better where you're seeing somebody that's a little taller going back like Hogan was, and then as halfway back they start to sink into their hips. They're not trying to torque really early in their swing. They're trying to do it more halfway back, which in this area, or a little bit later like McIlroy or Kenny Perry, a la Tiger Woods back in the day. Tiger did about halfway back, and then what was it? Fred Couples. You just go on and on and on and on about the players that did it more halfway back. It gets a full swing versus doing it, really early. Nick Faldo was somebody that did it really early. Justin Rose does it early. There's several more you can go on and do that, but just a style thing. But one thing is if now you can load it early like this and still lose it in transition, and then you got to know good. One thing's a fact: you got to get it in transition. And the finding the torque is going to be, finding it with your body, finding it with your club. We'll open that up for questions because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about that. What the heck I'm talking about. But you have to find that torque, and the way you find it, first of all, you have to slow down in transition. You have to slow down in transition. If you can slow down in transition, you can find where you're strong and weak, and strong versus weak, as we like to say it. And then when you find strong versus weak, and the strongest position for you, I should say, or the strongest energy of all three, with the lower body, upper body, and the shaft, then you know you have like something to use. If you, when you feel the strongest, you're going to have that torque we're talking about, that first portion of it, which would be out of in transition. When you come out of transition, if you have it, well, the biggest problem is once people, especially amateurs, have it, pros do it too when they're young, is they'll try to spin their hips because they have so much torque in the shaft in their body. They try to spin their hips over here way to the left early in transition, and what happens is they hit it off the map, way right, way left. They blow out the lower part of their back. They get the SI joint over here on fire. Pull the soft tissue of the left side over here off the rib cage, and pull those muscles. And if you've ever pulled a rib muscle, it is one of the most excruciating things. You won't play golf for at least 3 to 6 months. There's all kinds of things that can happen by trying to spin out of it in transition. Where what you're trying to do, these pros, as they get older, as they get more efficient, and I could go. I'll just give you one example. I was talking to one of my players that I always asked him. I said, why do you think that tour players? It seems like they become better ball strikers as they become older. Now, I'm not saying better players; they just become better ball strikers. And he's a PGA Tour winner. He's also a Champions Tour winner. And we were having a conversation late one night, and I was like, why is it that they do that? And he said, it's what happens is several things. You get more patient. You get more confidence in yourself. Your body can't move as fast. I mean, you're talking about this is somebody that's not a technical person, but those are feels, and those are things that are real that can help the everyday person if they're listening, because you start to be more patient, you start to slow down things, you start to realize that your body's not trying to snap as fast out of transition. You losing some athletic ability in some cases. For high level players, it sounds crazy, but losing some of that makes them have to use you have to find more efficiency, because you don't have all these snapping body parts and all those things, and all of a sudden your body slows down, your mind slows down, and you find more torque. You find more patience, you find more, you get more effortless, and the ball's flying forever. And if you've ever been to a Champions Tour event, I mean, it's not like the only reason it's definitely a difference in distance. And a lot of that is because their bodies just aren't the same. They don't have the same amount of torque. They can't create the amount of torque. It's not speed. It's their speeds on outputs are only based off of what their torque outputs are. And that's because their thoracic spine gets a little tighter. We get older. You're just not going to defy that. But they're still, you watch how far they hit it, and especially relative to how fast they swing. It's unbelievable. They crush it. And, they really can compete on the PGA Tour if they putt well. I mean, if you watch the top level players, they play a tour event, they can play to the same level. And they just don't usually putt as well. Their chipping usually suffers a little bit. I'm not 100% sure of that, but I've heard some theories on that. But it was just really interesting having a conversation with somebody who's been there and done that, and that says, I'm not, the same player said, I'm just not the same athlete I was back when I was younger. I could feel I was had so many more things I could do with a golf ball, but then once I lost some of those things, I had to find other areas and be more efficient in other areas, and that's what we're trying to talk about today. And then if you have all those athletic skills, and you can be patient, you can find torque in the two areas that are most important, which would be transition and the downswing, and maintaining that, which is the containment. So if you're on the website, that's basically you find the torque and then you contain it. And the longer you can contain it with the lower body and upper body, you want to try to contain it as long as you can. You should be trying to contain. That means contain means not really rotating on the downswing until you're going to you see rotation here. You should feel that your body is closed right here. Like if you can picture, I want to try to give you an example, visual. He's trying to feel his body stay closed as the club gets all the way down to here. Now, if you watch in reality what really happens, that's not what's really happening. So you have to bear with me here. I'm going to show you. If you could picture his body staying closed, just like this, right he's at right now. All right. and he could get his arms down. This isn't going to happen. You're going to see his body opening, so it's not going to be a fair assessment what you're looking at visually. If he could get his arms to this area, but his body's feeling this way, his body is feeling, lower body and upper body is feeling this, that long. He feel like he's closed that long. You get your arms in that deep, and then all of a sudden the club is going to start to come through all together with the body in the club. And he does as good a job as, in my opinion, he does as good a job as connecting the body to club on the PGA Tour as anybody. Henrik Stenson's another one that does it. Jordan Spieth is another one that does it. Those to me are probably the top three that really sink the body and club out of transition and maintain the amount of torque, in my opinion, that's like maximum torque, maximum energy. I would say those three would be right there. There's more. Scott Pierce, he does a good job. A lot of people have brought his, I don't know the swings on the tour. I don't watch the tour as much as I used to back in the day, but I do know what the body is designed to do for every player. And they're not going to all look the same. Dustin Johnson is another player that's phenomenal. He has more rotation, but the rotation is very slow. It's not a fast rotation, so it's still a torque-based type of golf swing. You know, when you see snapping swings, Adam Scott's the same way. He's got that torque-based golf swing where it's smooth, but that torque-based golf swing is going to look slow, or it's going to look slow. It doesn't have to look slow. It could look normal speed, but you don't ever see the effort. There's no effort to show, but the ball flies forever. And then there's some people that you can see they put that extra snap into it. Like Tiger way back in the day, McIlroy back, he doesn't seem like he has as much of that now. Like he's getting better at it. But a torque-based swing is it's going to be harder for you to see the speed, but the power output is going to be the same. A speed-based swing, you're going to see a lot of effort. So you want to try your best to, in my opinion, find that torque in this area, and it depends on what you're swinging. You can find torque in short shots too, like if you're only taking it back here. But you want to find that torque when you come in. When you come into transition, you better start trying to figure out torque. How to get torqued up into this right side. I'll give you some examples here. You should be trying to get torqued up in here in this hip. You should be trying to get it torqued up across the chest in this area. That kind of takes care of the upper and lower body. And if you can get torqued up there with the other drills that we do, and you can come out and contain that torque like I just talked about earlier. You can contain it as long as you can. Get your arms down, contain your body, resist opening up to the target. Resist it as you bring your arms down. You're going to hit some really good shots because your body is going to get open, especially if you're an athlete. I worked with a guy today that I work with. We've got one player on here plays on the European Tour. He's been doing real well. I think he won a big event. I don't know, it was a month or two or a couple months ago, but he follows all of our online videos, and he's watches the webinar stuff. He loves it, and he's a European Tour player. I'm not going to mention his name right now, but he's coming on strong. Play golf at UFC. It's fun to watch, and all he does is train on here. This guy's he's worked with everybody in the country, and he watches our videos and claims that they've really made a difference in creating more width in his golf swing, his downswing, and his downswing's got more efficient. He spent his whole life working backswing. Now he's focused on downswing, and he's cashing checks and making a lot of money. And this kid I'm working with now that came from Dallas, I believe he's going to be something really special because he swings very similar to Justin Rose. He's very much built like Justin Rose. And we're starting to take some things that he had some serious weaknesses, which was, spinning out of it on the downswing, which is what I've been talking about the entire time. Spun out too early in transition. He's trying to get open too quick. He was taught to do that. He's trying to swing left too fast, left being too fast through the ball. So as he's getting through the ball, he's trying to swing his hands hard left through here to the left. It would be like if I was coming through the ball this area. He's trying to superficially swing his arms, get the club head too far left over here, and he is, and so the ball's spinning off the face this way and that way, so he's kind of being inconsistent when he came. But everything we're doing is trying to get him to do things where we're maintaining, he actually, this guy I'm talking about here, has a phenomenal base as far as the 3 stages of transition. He comes into transition, he slows down, he comes out of, he gets in the middle of transition and establishes transition, creates space. He comes out of transition for about a foot, and it was really weird. It was like, once you usually do that, you're good to go. I mean, obviously you're talking about a tour player, so he's good to go. It's plus handicap, but he still wasn't striking it at the level he has to strike it at to play with the big boys. And the reason why was because after he made that last foot, he was starting to do the stupid stuff with his hips where he was spinning wide open, spinning out of it, trying to get the club hard left. He was trained to do that. He'd been trying to do it on his own. And once he learned that he didn't have to do that, that he could keep all that torque in, then he realized that all of a sudden the game he could really be relaxed and just pound it and not put any effort into it, and because all the torque was coming out in front of him where the ball was versus behind him, because all the energy was coming out from behind, back, and I was losing energy back in these areas because he was trying to spin out. So for the ones that've been on here for a long time, I talk about this all the time, so this is maybe beating a dead horse in some ways. For the new ones, we got several new ones on here tonight, and we've got several new ones that aren't on here that will be watching these videos this week. These are very, very important things. I try to talk about them all the time because these are the ones that, the longer the player can contain torque on the downswing, you find torque you got to find torque in transition, then you got to contain it as long as possible. That doesn't mean holding on to the golf club. It's not lag and all that stuff. The videos explain that, but the webinars just to show you, kind of give you some examples of what we're talking about. And so, anyway, I'm going to open it up for questions now. I think I've got everything covered that I needed to cover, and then we will go from there. Yeah, one last thing before the questions start is just make sure if you do videos, you put them on YouTube. You can make them public, you can make them unlisted. It doesn't matter to me. It's whatever works for you. I believe every player on here in our webinar program should have a YouTube site, and the reason why that, it's not to generate followers. Unless you want to do that, it's up to you. It doesn't bother me. I'm just saying, I think it gives you it's kind of like it's a personal video blog that can help you track where you're at, kind of where you can just see it. I mean, if you put them on there, one, you can send them in to me, and every webinar I'm going to talk about them. If you send me a YouTube link, we're going to talk about them. If you do that, then you can also you can track it. You can start looking at your own, you should be looking at your own swings. I mean, that's very, very, very important to understand, matching up our fundamentals relative to how you actually swing. And then if you can track your progression, if you've done 10 videos and they all look the same, I mean, they all look the same. It should change. And I feel like it does, but it's just very important that I believe that you can, because seeing is believing in some ways, it's not the end all, but it should be changing. And from videos I've seen before with players, I see them change, or some videos I see with players, they look exactly the same. And if you're not changing, you should send those videos in to me, those links in. We can talk about them and start to say, hey, go do this. I can already tell you, if you've done 10 videos and you're trying to do it and you feel like you're putting a little effort in to try to change the swing and it's not changing, it's not the effort you're not putting in, it's just not the exaggeration. It's always the exaggeration level for every player. Really, if you're trying to make a pretty serious change, it has to be, if you feel like you're trying to do it 50% to 100%, you got to triple that to actually see the club move whatever direction you're trying to move it in, or the body, or whatever it is. You got to triple that feeling. And that's what we do at the schools. I mean, all we do is exaggerate the ever-living hell out of everything we're teaching everybody. And they don't believe it, and they feels weird. 2 guys out today from Albuquerque in a golf school. My other instructor, Kay Thomas, been with me for 7 years, had a guy out from San Antonio. We're out there teaching, and all we do is exaggerate the ever-living hell out of it. You're taking one extreme to the other. They're bringing in an extreme of whatever it is, whether it's over the top, flipping, maybe whatever, and we're bringing in these serious extremes on the other side. And you can do that as a player on your own. You just have to realize you're trying to do dead opposite of what your biggest flaw is. And you just want to find whatever that root is, that root cause problem, what you feel like that root is that you see on the downswing is number one. Then you just got to go completely opposite of it until you start seeing movement and change and all that. And it's not easy. I'm not going to lie to you. You can change it. It's it all the time. But I'm just saying the ones that are trying the hardest usually aren't the ones that are getting the best. The ones that are exaggerating the most are usually the ones that are the best at changing. So just so you know that.
Hey Matt, did you get the videos I sent you?
Yeah, I did, but it wasn't. I couldn't open up that link. It was. I think it was in. Was it in Google Drive?
Have you got me on YouTube, on your YouTube thing?
Did you send it in YouTube? Can you send it again? We can put it on here. I thought it was in Google Drive. I couldn't open it the last time. We were on the last webinar, and I saw that right after we'd finished the webinar, and I couldn't open that up. But that could have been because of it could have just been because I had too many things popped up or whatever on my video. So if you want to send it over right now, send it over to me. I'll pop it up on the email.
Got two on there. Let me have a look. Hold on.
Can you send it right now?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
Yeah, just once you get it sent, just let me know, and then we'll pop it up because I want to. Like I said, anybody that wants to send a video, that's what I really want to, especially this time of year, start getting into is looking at analyzing videos and showing things that I feel like are good and weak as well.
Just give me 2 minutes. I'll send it over.
Let's see. It'll take me just a minute. I'm gonna take the screen off for just a second, then I'll bring it back up so I can go to my email.
Matt, while you're waiting for that, could I just ask a quick question?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Off-season training program, so doing stuff indoors.
Yep.
Will you be offering anything like that on the website that'll give us some guides on what we can do, like in our basement and stuff like that?
Yeah, Teddy's doing and he's doing a really good job. My schedule just right now with travel and all that stuff is not letting me really do much. As far as I know what you're talking. I think you're talking about the actual just the website and all that stuff, how to train. Teddy's been with me for like 7 years. He's if I had somebody to look at my golf swing, it would be Teddy Thomas. As far as somebody that I trust, but he's doing some stuff online as well. If you need a quick start, you want to do one lesson, if you want to do something like that, and just whether it's fitness, it could be swing. If you feel like you need a quick, kind of a, so to speak, just get on the right track. He's doing Skype and he's doing the FaceTime and the Google Hangout. So either one of those three. But yeah, we're working on some stuff to do as well for off-season training. The biggest thing in the off-season training, it depends on how motivated you are. The truth about that, I'm going to pop up this email real quick so I can get to it. But oh man, what is this? Hang tight here. Not able to get my email right now. Who was that was talking? James, was that James that was going to send me that?
Yeah. Do you want me?
I may be able to pull it off. Just hang tight. But he's doing some stuff to kind of fast track players on like what to do with fitness. How to do it, because that's a big problem we found. Is the one thing is like players, when they do start trying to do kettlebells and they send in videos, they're not even close, and they're usually using too much weight, so they don't really get the benefits of the mobility. It's tricky, but when you get it, I mean, that's the one thing. When you get your fitness stuff right, the movements right, it can be really beneficial to anybody, and I recommend it to anybody. Now, there's also artist strength is really good. I know we've had a couple players that have used them. Mike has used them. Sometimes they get a little heavier than what you really need, but the heaviness is to get you to move right. And so if you understand that, you know where you're going, you start moving right, then you go back lighter, and you can do that. The other thing is you have to if you do it on your own, it takes so much self-discipline. People can do it, Oh yeah, we got it here, James. So you know,
Have you
people
got it? I chatted it in
trick.
if you didn't have the link in to
I'm
the
going
room.
to take a look at this. Um, People can do it on their own, but you know what the one thing I would say is like if you can find a gym that matches up with what we do, and I believe in the Russian, RKC, Russian Kettlebell Certified. I believe they do a really good job. Sometimes they overtrain a little bit, depends on who you are. They're phenomenal trainers, but they need to know what you're trying to do for golf. And uh, if you got in there and train with them, usually when people train in groups, they train a lot harder than normal, which is can be good and can be bad. I feel like it's good because you're not going to just, if you do it on your own, you're going to quit 50% faster than you're going to quit on your own, or excuse me, other than with the group. And so I think that's important because you got to get a little bit. If you don't get the body heat up to a certain level, you're not going to get the mobility, the strength, and the balance, and all those things. So it's, if you're disciplined and you use our program, I mean, you can follow it and it's going to give you what you want. But, some people will make the excuse or justify not, this, I'm not going to do that, or they'll wait too long or whatever. And sometimes what we find is you go out to find you a good club over the winter, gym that works on functional movements. Just being around people sometimes will energize you. And I think that's a big deal. So let me pop this up here. I don't know if that answers your question or not, Jeff. Was that in the ballpark or?
Yeah, no, that's fine. I know the kettlebell work's going to be important for sure. I went out and bought I think it's a half-pood kettlebell, so I've been working with that and everything too. I just didn't know if there's any type of swing stuff that can be done. But I don't want to take too much away from the swing analysis here, so I'll reach out to Teddy later on and see what he's saying.
Yeah. I mean, even that with the swing over the winter, really, yeah, there is some things that we used to do. Especially, I might open some more. I've closed a lot of those off, and I could probably open them back up because there's some pretty good stuff that we had back a couple years ago that is really good. Dry swings in the garage or at home, and all those things. You still never want to really overtrain, but you definitely want to train. There's a balance. All right, and let's see here. Let's just look at this. So I haven't seen this swing, so we'll look at it. It's an interesting move there. Good right side turn. Good. I already see so even here I can already tell he's going to have he's going to be outrunning it, and you can see he's going to outrun it cast. I predicted that early, and I'll tell you why I predicted that was going to happen. This stuff is really good. It's a good player, but he's moving like the club never settles in transition. So and it's hard to prove this, especially even in slow motion. It's be even tougher if it was normal speed. But in here, I'm seeing he's got great thoracic mobility. I love all that, but he's leaning with his thoracic part of his spine. He's kind of leaning with this part of his body, the lead side of his body, in transition, and he's leaning over here with everything. Then all of a sudden, there's going to be too much outrunning it. No, that's all kinds of stuff on here. He's going to get too far over here, and then the club's going to be too far away from his body. And then what's going to happen, he's going to be flipping it down at the bottom. And I transition, like I've said, and I don't mean this to sound bad, but really just about every single swing that I have a problem with is transition based. And I've said this from the day one, and I'll say it till as long as I'm teaching. I fix transition because transition is the in-between portion of the backswing and the downswing. You fix transition, you get a better player. Doesn't mean you're going to have they can't be better because there's things that can happen down by the ball and there's other things that happen. But the big problems like the problems that you're seeing here where the player doesn't have enough lag and he's outrunning the club, is not down by the ball. Because if I was just looking down here, I can show you, everybody in the world can see it that knows anything about the swing. Right there, even there, that club has released early. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it a million. As soon as I saw his transition, I knew it was going to happen because there's no other way it was going to. His body's too far to rotate it out in front, and the club has lost all the angle. All right. So if I take this, I don't know what swings I have on the other one, but that club at this point should be, the body should be more resisted back this way, the lower body, and that club should be really not fully, it shouldn't be completely level right there. It should be in between kind of this area, this area. He's losing that. So he's basically losing that much energy in that club. Now, and so if I sit there and start telling you to try to fix that down here by the ball, one, you're not going to be able to break 100. So we're not going to do that. The problem lies up here. And if you watch how he goes into transition, he's leaning, even just that little bit of lean. Just watch it. You just watch for yourself. You'll see. It's good here. And then there's a lean right there. And then the body snaps. When I say the body snaps, this right here has outrun too far. Oh, it's too far open. There's too much disconnect. This club's too far away from the body in general. And so when you have that, there's just all this disconnected space right here. So when you see that, he's got lag here, but the next movement, because this is going to keep moving and opening, this is where you're losing torque. When that keeps opening and going that way, your next move is going to be dumping that club straight down. All right, and it's going to be very consistent. It happens with basically every player I've ever seen. And there it casts, boom. And then you're going to start to look at a flip down through the ball, boom. He does a good job catching it down by the ball, and it's probably why he hits it pretty decent. But he's still, that's still losing a tremendous amount of energy, you know. And it's all this area is not bad. He does a good job catching it, but like I said, that club is releasing too early. And that's what's happening now. Is the club releasing too early, or is it just bad transition? I think the transition should be better. It's not. It's a good swing too. I mean, you're talking. I mean, I'm being very critical here, so it could sound like I'm just busting on this swing, but I'm just going by what I know. What it's supposed to look like at the highest level of the game, and that ain't it. When they're moving up there in transition, leaning into that ball with the spine, and then they start spinning those hips like that, that club's going to start casting out like that. So,
I can feel that when I'm swinging. I hate it. I don't know how to fix it.
Yeah, so there's one thing, the internal torque drill, you got that video or whatever, fixes it. When we do three things at every golf school here. You can bring this foot as a drill, where I've showed you how to do that, to bring the foot back about 35 degrees, the opposite of the way, turn the foot in. That starts to lock the upper body up, then the energy will be more on top of the ball instead of behind. You're losing a lot of energy back in this area. I know you're still in it. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not going to be like somebody that's just extremely high level either. They're going to have more retention of both their lower body, upper body, and the shaft. But when your body moves in transition, the fastest way to stop it is to pause and transition. Let it all stop. That's what Roy McIlroy is so good at. That's what Jordan Spieth. There's so many players that can really just let it collect up there, and it's just patience. And then they keep all that as long as they can, and it comes out, all the energy of the body and the club come out around, 3-4 feet from the ball. And so that would be the number one thing. And there's drills you can do. Like I said, there's going to be a lot of players on here that don't know what I'm talking about here, and they're going to think I'm crazy. But you take this foot and you angle it this way about 35 degrees when you set up. It's a drill, and you would do it with a wedge, and you would feel immediately the body starting to stiffen up and torque up, and maintain. That would allow better energy of the shaft. And it wouldn't take 2 balls and it would do that. But it takes a while, because that move, when you see somebody doing that move in transition, and you see somebody doing that move where you're spinning out and you're casting the club at the same time, they usually go together. That is not a move that just gets fixed overnight. They have to really understand, one, that what's causing it, and then two, how to correct it, which would be the way I do it. I would stop in transition, let the whole body stop, let the whole club stop. For at least 1 to 2 seconds, and then you could come through naturally. It would look better. It wouldn't be perfect. It'd look better. It'd be 20% better, and anything better is better. And then the other way to get the rest of it out of there is easy. Just do the internal torque drill. So, and I know I think you got that video back in the day when I sent that video out, but it's still a good swing. It's a very good swing.
Have you seen the down the line one I sent you as well? I don't know.
I'm sorry?
That down the line one I sent you as well.
Yep. Let's take a peek at this thing. down the line. Like I said, I mean, it's like I'm being really critical, but that's just because that's my job. I mean, you see, people can see on here how good it is. But even there, I can see like you're outrunning it right there. Your body's already kind of stiffened up. The reason why it's stiffened up on this back side is because you went forward too much instead of just letting it all settle. And then you're going to see that it's on the plane, but there's too much flip and all too much pulling around and all that stuff. It's still a great swing. Most people would love to have that swing. So, you know, I would tell you, let that thing stop in transition. And then do the drill, the internal torque drill, and you'll immediately see results. It'd be the first thing I'd do here, and that'd be it. I mean, everything else, you know, you got the club swinging, your right wrist bends the right way. You find a tremendous amount of torque and backswing torque and transition. You lose torque on the downswing, but you still got more torque than most people. So, you know, it's a really good swing.
Do you think the momentum is what makes me lean like over?
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. What's that?
Do you think the momentum of the backswing is what's making me
Yes,
sort of lean
100%. 100%. Go video it. I tell you what, do this, and then we'll put it back on here next week. Stop for 5 seconds. Don't just video yourself. Same thing. It's kind of like a drill. Take it up normal, all the way up there normal. All right, your normal golf swing. And when I say make a normal swing, because a lot of times if people do it, if they think they're going to pause, they don't make a real backswing. So then it doesn't end up, I don't know, it doesn't work. But take a real swing and then stop right at the end of wherever that's going to be. I don't care how long it is. I don't care how short it is. I just take it up there a real swing, turn your right side, do all the things you're doing. Hold that position for 3 to 5 seconds, zero. I mean, just let it get there. And then come down and hit the ball. I don't care where it goes. Not anything special. You don't have to add anything to it. And then just video it and then see if it's not better. We'll bring it up here on the next webinar, and let's just see if it doesn't look better. It may not. And if it's not, then I'm going to give you some tricks. But it will probably be, like I said, 20% better. It'll probably be a minimal of 20% better if you do that. And then it's learning how to convert and transition. You have to learn how to convert and transition. You have to learn how to convert and transition. When I mean convert and transition of this, the 3 stages, I think, of transition, or what is it, 3 essentials of transition. How you come in, how you settle, establish transition, and then how you come out. That's so. I mean, that's really. If I could teach that personally, I could teach that, and I'd be perfectly content with myself if I taught every player how to do that. I wouldn't have to teach them impact. I know it wouldn't be perfect, but I would be content with how I teach golf if I could only teach transitioning and my players understood transition. That's it. I mean, so because if you can establish transition and you can come out of it, the first foot out of transition correctly with the body and the club, I don't care how you came in. If you were Tiger Woods, you're going to play better. If you came in and you're Mrs. Smith and you're 80 years old and you got that, you'd be better. And that's all I care about is people getting better. The other stuff, even our stuff, you can start to, we can get out here and start to get into left field and get this going and that going and this going and that going, and you get lost. But, the bottom line is what I really want players to get really great at is going to be, coming into transition, which is kind of the float. So the float is all 3 of them, but it's like coming into transition, establish transition of body and club. That means stopping them, let them stop, and then coming out of transition. And that's the hardest, because when you establish transition, you're going to if you establish transition, you come. And coming out is tricky because you're going to want to jump like crazy. Most people do. They want it like what you're doing. I mean, you're not really establishing it, but if you did, you still might jump a little bit because you have so much torque in your transition, and people are scared to keep that torque. They want to just unleash that torque. They want to spin and whip it and go crazy. And by 2 things: one, they think players do that, or they're taught that, because that's still a lot of that's out there in teaching today, is trying to get wide open with your hips. And I'm telling you, it's not the right road to go down. And anybody that ever does, I tell anybody this, and we have that where we talk about go left, right, middle, and it's basically like the yin and yang. So we'll have one player go way over the top. If you come to a school, I'll have you physically go way over the top. I'll have you physically go way under the plane on the downswing, and I'll have you physically go find the middle. And when you find the middle, you're going, oh wow, that's it. So what I would tell everybody to do, now the bad thing about it, if I start telling everybody to spin their hips on a real fast swing, you could get injured. Like I did. I did it myself way back in the day. That's how I ended up where I'm at right now. That was the road that led me where I am right now, and it changed my life. It changed my career, business, personal. The whole thing changed, and it changed because everybody I'd ever been to had always told me I have the best tips they'd ever seen as a player, blah blah blah. And it's just because I spun out. I didn't understand why, because one, I wasn't that great a ball striker way back then, and it's 20 plus years ago. And when I got injured, it made me realize I had to find a different route. And when I found a different route, I went actually against what people had told me I was so good at, other teachers. And I went against that, and I started to study and learn. As I learned more and I studied more, and it's still been a continuing process. I have zero back pains. I mean, I had back pains. I couldn't play 2 rounds of golf in a row there for probably 7 to 10 years before I really studied biomechanics. It was somewhere in that area. It might have been 5. I can't remember. It was a long time. It felt like 100 because before that, I played golf every day and I loved it, blah, 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 blah. Blow my back out. Can't play 2 rounds of golf in a row. Wasn't playing that great really anyway. And I had to find a different way to do it. And that was the journey I went down and started to I became obsessed with biomechanics to the point of, it was full obsession. And that led me into some other things, and it all led me all the way back out of that into back into what I'd done with martial arts when I was a kid. And then I had kind of the modern training that we had with the shaft and the club face and all those things. I ended up with understanding the body literally from the toes up to the neck. And then I wound up finding the energy, which was like, feels and things like that, which was the Tai Chi and things I've been doing as a kid. So, and I put those together the biomechanics changed my life because it just got me back to the source that I started with and made me realize I had something. And then the Tai Chi and the things like that with the other golf techniques that I've known have really made it to where the game is really easy. It is our system. That is, if I was to say I had a system, that's it. It is a combination of golf techniques. It's a combination of biomechanics. It's a combination of Tai Chi or internal martial arts would be what I would call it. Not necessarily Tai Chi. And it's torque, keeping torque. If you can the longer you can keep torque on the downswing, you got to find it. It's like the bending tree or the bending branch. If you take a tree branch out there and you go bend it all the way back, that's creating torque. And then you keep that as long as you can, and all of a sudden you've got this tremendous whip at the it doesn't matter wherever you're striking, it's going to have a tremendous whip, and you don't see the speed sometimes. So that's really what we're trying to do. So long story, but that's where all this comes from, and it's more players are trying to spin out than they are trying to keep torque. If you watch Justin Rose, I've got a drill now that I just call it the Justin Rose drill because I think he does it better than anybody. Where he takes it back and it's in his pre-shot routine. He brings his arms down, he keeps his body closed. So basically, if he opened up his body, I'll show it so it'll make sense. So if you took the club back. It's just a drill. You don't hit balls to it. He just does this as a pre-shot routine. You take it here and you hold it. So however much his body is open here with his hips, so if his hips are whatever open this way and this is open that way, he'll bring his arms all the way down basically to his pocket and keeps them wide, which is what we teach. But he doesn't allow his body to open back up. He keeps it closed like that. So whatever he establishes as rotation in the backswing, he keeps all that and then brings his arms down. And when he does that, he'll kind of gently swing through around the baseline, which is down, hip high level. Then he'll kind of come through. And in reality, you should be trying to feel that as long as you can, but it's not going to look like that in reality. And that's what makes it work. So hope that helps you.
Yeah, no, thanks.
No problem. You could probably find Justin Rose like pre-shot routine. I haven't seen any videos on it. I haven't really looked for it, but I've watched him. I watched him play in the last few years, and I thought it was one of the coolest. I copied it. I thought we use it at our golf school. I use it. I'll use it tomorrow. We had a first day was we do lower body torque, and we do the side of the shaft, and then we do the strong and weak, and then we do what's the last one? I don't know if I said left and right. We do left, right, and middle, and that's usually the last one. So we did that today. Tomorrow we're going to be doing upper body torque drills, and that's going to be it's the Justin Rose drill because I just copied it off of him 100% because I think it's the best drill. I think you can show it to anybody. I'm not saying everybody should swing like Justin Rose. That is not what I'm saying. It's just a drill that anybody from Bubba Watson to Tiger Woods to me, Mr. Smith or whoever can do it, and they get benefits out of it. You're not going to look like Justin Rose, and if you do, that's great. But it's really to make you to sync up your body and club. So, look like there's a question on here. Somebody's got a. Okay, hold on tight here. Looks like we got another video coming in. That's cool. Well, this may work. Let's see if this works. Yeah, that's going to work. So this is Jim Franks. Whoops. He's probably got to slow down. He has them usually slowed down here in a minute. So on this,
if you go to the end, it's slowed down.
Yeah. I figured you had it. Would it be over here or like here?
Yeah, keep going. Yeah, right in there.
It's better. I still see some of the left arm row, which you know about, but like it's better. Like even there, the side of the shaft's angled better. You're tipping it a little bit early. Tipping it it's still way better though than last time we looked at it because you had your swing on here a few webinars back. To me, it was roll open a lot more. Here's what I would do. I would have the shaft standing more vertical. The shaft to me is too out here. I would have you trying to get the shaft feeling a little bit more on top of your hands here. Your right hand more on top.
Good.
Yeah.
Good, because that's just exactly what I've been trying to do. I've been trying to. The feeling for me is to keep the shaft in front of my feet. Kind of thing. And that's been working real well for me. So that's where I'm going next. But I wanted to see what you thought about that.
I think there's some good stuff. The right side turns well. It's a little bit flat with the shoulder. It's not bad. I think the body's kind of flat because the shaft's flat. I think if you stood the shaft up a little bit better on top of your right wrist, on top of your left wrist, it'd be a little bit better. I'll go over. We've got let's see. I got this girl right here is going to be a ball. She is a ball striking machine right now, and we got more work to do. I mean, but she's a novice. But this is one of the drills that we do. I think I had this on here last week, but it's like a stage 3 drill where we stand the shaft up, and this is the automatic drill. So you can see that shaft's more vertical, where Jim's is more around here. So it's not that the arms where the arm's located. She's got the shaft more on top of her left wrist. It wouldn't be vertical. You don't want it vertical, but his is a little bit more here. You see her body's really rotated here, and then when she comes through, you'll just see it. It's going to strike it. I mean, it just lands right on it, boom, and just dead straight. So
yeah, and talking about exaggeration, for me to make that next change, for that to get like 2 inches better, is going to feel like the shaft is out in front of my head.
Yeah,
the club head is out in front of my head. That's, talking about exaggeration and what it feels like to make a little bitty change. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, and we've said this before in other webinars, but it's the goal is not to always, in my opinion, a lot of times repeating the same stuff is the most powerful. So if your shaft's kind of laid off in this area, rolling out in this area, I always tell everybody, even our instructors, and they all know, especially Teddy. I mean, to me, he's phenomenal coach, but he knows all. If you're over here, you can't feel where she's at. You can't feel here, which is, I mean, for her swing, it's perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect for everybody, but she doesn't miss hit shots. I call her Little Stinson because she hits the ball like she hits it as straight as Henrik Stenson. I'm talking about that. She's one of the best iron players, going to be a phenomenal player playing D1 college golf, and just doesn't miss shots. The ball goes over straight. And it's a lot of the drills that we do with this. It's mainly because she's talented and she's going to be awesome, period. But we've got some drills that make her better. And this is one of them. We get the shaft stood up the right way, arm depth and all that. But if her shaft was over here, kind of like yours was rolled open, it would say it's right here. To get to here, you can't feel here. If she tried to feel, like if Jim tried to feel like he's going to get the shaft just like that right there, well, the shaft would just stay right here. It wouldn't move. You wouldn't see any difference. He's got to feel like he actually probably stands the shaft or goes this way. He's got to go over here. And the reason why that is it's the middle ground. And if you know anything about yin and yang, there's a balance. The only way you know like what left is you got to know what right is or whatever. Well, if this is right here, he would have to feel way up and steep like crazy just to get the shaft maybe to move a little bit. Maybe to move up a little bit. He might have to feel like it's on top of her where her hair's at, to get to where this is. That's important to know, because if you don't know that, you're going to be really frustrated trying to study your videos and going, why can't I change my golf swing? It could be any move. It could be any move. If you have a player that's like that and the goal is here, then you better have them feeling over here. It's opposite of how extreme they are. If their player comes in and they're right there, the ghost where we have it, they better be right. They got to feel right there. They got to feel the exact opposite, the complete opposite. Well, you got to realize that's not this much. That is even on the good one. It's that much. This player way over here, vice versa, could be the other way. It's that much. I mean, that's crazy. The feel on that would be insane. If that's what you have, that's why it is insane. That's why you got to do it. And when you do it, you'll hit it better. You'll start to get better. You'll start to see a visual change. You'll probably improve your confidence, and then you will get better, if you know where the middle ground's at. So that's good.
Thank you, man.
Those videos in, guys. That's great. I would much rather be studying videos and analyzing videos than I would be just, I have to do the kind of stuff at the first. That's never going to go away. But I do enjoy studying the videos. You can send videos in. Slow motion is best. If you can do them by YouTube links, making up those, it's going to be good for you, and it's going to be good for us and good for the students watching. So it helps kind of everybody. But, you have any other questions?
Can you hear me?
Yo.
How much does the footwork, rolling the footwork, have to do with maintaining the torque?
Well, that's actually a hell of a question. You caught me off guard on that one. So face on, if you go too much with your footwork, let me just try to go, hang tight here. I'll pop it up. Good question though. Great question. Because you start jumping your feet, trying to go ankle to ankle, and you outrun the club, then you're going to do the same thing we just saw earlier. You can outrun it even going lateral, because lateral is not the goal. Let me see if I can find anybody. Let's see here. Oh, there's a good one. This is a good one. So if you get up here to the top, you can see kind of stabilize, establish transition, and he's going to start moving with his feet. It's a really good one to look at, actually. But if he was to get here and then all of a sudden really, kick his feet lateral, both of them going lateral like we talked about, you could outrun the shaft, even because what we were talking about earlier is spinning the hips like this. So you spin the hips too fast, then you're going to outrun the shaft. You're going to dump it out this way too quick, right? If you get, well, you can do the same thing by jumping the feet. You get up here in transition and you jump your feet lateral. You can outrun the club and dump the club around. You're going to leave it behind. So you want to make sure that your footwork is in time with the side of the shaft. And if you watch these players, great example here, obviously Adam Scott, I think is who that is. But if you watch, I'll try to slow it down. You'll see his body and club are in tom. Let me slow it down more. So we're stopped there, and then we're going to play that, and you can see his body and club are in tom. You can see it. I mean, all the energy's coming out right in front of him. If he was to be more, like, for example, his hips, you know, well, it's not going to be a good example there. Let me go back a little bit. If his body was way open, now he could, you know, these tour players are strong in their arms. They could hang on and save it. But if he was way open or way out in front with his feet here, you would probably see the same thing we saw earlier, with the shaft would be dumped right here, if that makes sense. So, well, my point is it's not, you don't want to go fast when you use your footwork. You don't want to go fast with your footwork. You want to go in time with your club. It needs to be feeling like you're moving your feet and the side of the shaft into the ball at the same rate of speed. And that's probably the best way I can explain that, if that makes sense.
Yep.
A great question, though, really. You got any other questions? Yeah, so next week, just or 2 weeks from now, send your videos in. And I'm not sure the schedule yet. I'm traveling. It seems like, as always, but I will have I'll have this video uploaded tonight, sent to you, and then we'll have the webinar. I'm not sure what date yet, but we're probably looking at Tuesday again, 2 weeks from now. And then we'll go from there. Last year we did 3 webinars in Christmas just for fun, and it seemed like it went pretty well. So maybe we do that again this year too, just for fun. So, but any of the videos you can take of your swing, whether it's indoor, outdoor, dry swings, doesn't matter. You don't have to be hitting a golf ball. You could be doing a drill. You could be doing whatever. If you want to do putting, just keep in mind, you know, that'll help. To me, that's makes more sense than probably anything. And with that, I will wrap it up for the night, and hope everybody has a great night, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, man.
Have a great night.